And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media, always providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate and tax planning, and so much more. And we're your number one consumer advocate here on the radio every day, 5 o'clock drive time, 1380 The Biz, weekend show on FM 102.5 The Bone. And we syndicate our TV show out to WeBeam TV, Apple TV, Amazon, Roku, and 85 other outlets. And we want to entertain, we want to enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage with you so that we can help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
We want you to save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. We love it when the phone line rings. It's an off-air number, and you can call or text that line, and we love to reach out. We love to have you reach out. That way we can help you win. Also, bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available for you on our website at consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors there. And this is Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks in studio with me today, making her debut. Lindsey, Vance, welcome in.
Thank you, Brandon. How you doing today?
Doing wonderful. Wonderful, yeah. Fairway Independent Mortgage, local lender, support the local economy is what I always say.
Yep, correct. I've been in the business for 5 years, and prior to that, I was an accountant for 7 years, specializing in taxes. So my background's all finance and accounting. And I work with a lot of first-time home buyers.
Very cool. That's awesome. And your mom has been on the show and following in her footsteps in the mortgage industry.
Yeah, I hope I can get as good as her.
That's awesome. Yeah, and she's like a regional manager, I believe, with 36 or 38 employees and
correct.
Loan officers.
All of Tampa Bay area.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So more from Lindsey coming up in the show. We also have attorney Frank Miranda in studio. Welcome back, sir.
Brandon, thanks for having me again, and I appreciate the use of the word plethora in the intro. I think that's, expanding vocabulary of the listener is a good thing.
That's right. Yeah, man. We're going to mix it up with them. Today we're going to talk a little bit about real estate law, title insurance, all those kind of cool things happening in the real estate space. A lot of trends in the past. We've talked about some of these out-of-state hedge fund buyers coming in and just pulling money out of the Tampa Bay economy.
Yeah, when you're talking about those national companies, and we've talked about it before, but just to remind some listeners, you get advertised about zero listing commissions. You're advertised and you're presented with documentation that you're not going to have to pay any fees or commissions, and this is simply not the case. What happens is you get referred to an in-house title company, or you get an affiliated company, and what happens is there's a backdoor kickback. It's a legal kickback, but it's a kickback that most often you don't know about because the print's so small you can't even see it.
That's right.
And then by the time you add up all your fees and costs, you would have surpassed what you would have spent on someone that's a local independent company. So what happens is, again, you get kind of hoodwinked.
Yep.
The consumer gets hoodwinked by the big corporation and by the marketing blitz and the schemes. And at the end of the day, there's no accountability locally. So my advice to your customers and all the listeners here are simply, hey, if you can deal with somebody locally and there's accountability,
yes,
and you can research the reputation of that person, there's nothing better than that, because at the end of the day, that person has to go back in their own community and sell.
Yep.
And so not only sell, but present the customer, the consumer, a product they actually need.
Yeah, absolutely. I call it commission breath around here. Everywhere you look, you got commission breath coming at you. And that's why we set this show up almost 6 years ago now, helping consumers win in any marketplace. That's our goal. We got your back out there. And we want to invite you to an event coming up on Thursday, the 27th. It's Tampa Bay's largest speed networking event. It's going to be a great time, great networking, connections to be made. And it's going to be catered food from Amici's Catered Cuisine, award-winning catered food from Amici's Catered Cuisine. Spunky Spirits is the bartender going to be pouring, and it's just going to be a great time. There's going to be a DJ there, DJ Yahoo as well, going to be there. And come on out. It's going to be at the Verizon Event Center in Largo, East Bay Drive, Largo, on Thursday, the 27th, starting at 6 o'clock. You want to be there and make a lot of great connections. A lot of our radio show partners, a lot of our real estate and mortgage teams going to be there. come on out, register on Eventbrite. We're at about 150 reservations already, so it's almost full. So reach out. We'd love to have you check out eventbrite.com or consumerqb.com. And we also have a raffle going on. Anybody wants to donate something for the raffle, you'll get your name recognition as well. Donate a raffle. We have tables available, and all the proceeds are going to be benefiting Children's Cancer Center, one of our longtime charitable partners that we work with here in Tampa Bay. This segment is brought to you by the Lucky Dill Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Lucky Dill Restaurant. They've got a deli, New York City bar, Brooklyn bakery, catering, banquets, and much more. Home of the sandwich that ate Brooklyn. They've got much more than just sandwiches as well. They've got salads, great soups, all types of good stuff there. Great ambiance and a very friendly staff at the Lucky Dill, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show on Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa. They've got a location in Palm Harbor, US 19, luckydilldeli.com. Now, make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and they're going to hook you up with that free water with lemon every time. They're going to take care of you in there.
That's a great pitch.
Yeah, we like that one. And so we've got a couple of hot listings here. As you know, I'm a top listing agent in the United States. I'm a top 1% realtor nationwide. We got a new listing, 9950 Hilltop Drive. This one is up in Newport Richey, Pasco County, to our friends up in Pasco. Now, what we're doing with this property, you got a property here, a move-in ready home, and we got 9 acres. So what we decided to do, we're going to split these up into 2 parcels. We're going to reduce the home down to 199, make it a great offer, and then have additional 7 acres MOL for about $99,000. Great opportunity in Newport Richey. Just listed, just hit the market, hot property. Now, we got a development opportunity here in Tampa, 4309 Frierson Avenue in Tampa, close to that Seminole Heights area. A lot of revitalization going on. Easy for me to say. 4309 East Frierson Avenue. Now, this is a just listed prime multifamily site. The owner tells me he's got it zoned already for 2 quadplexes. The typo there is a duplex. It should be a quadplex. So we got Frierson Avenue in Tampa that is open for 8, maybe even 10 units right here in Tampa Bay, one of the hottest markets in all of Tampa Bay. Price point on that it's around $140,000. Great opportunity in beautiful Tampa Bay. Hot real estate listings now at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Yeah, what a great opportunity on that property to be able to build 2 quadplexes, fill it up with tenants, have that thing just turning over so much income for years to come.
8 units, you're saying?
8 units, potentially even 10.
Wow.
Yeah. We're working on architectural right now. We got Gerald McCants Architecture working on that. We've got one of our construction partners looking at potentially, getting the whole cost to build everything put together. That way we make it real easy for the buyer. Come in, here's your plans, here's all you need to make that happen. So I love the idea of talking about real estate as an investment opportunity, kind of leading into our conversation with Lindsey Vance here from Fairway Independent Mortgage. When you look at real estate, man, not only is it just a huge driver of our economy, it's creating so many jobs, so much infrastructure growth based on the tax implications from that. But, it's just a great investment opportunity, too, as we just mentioned with that property.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you think about it, a lot of people, or young people, because I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, they are all paying rent. And the rent here is just going up astronomically.
Yeah.
I have a friend that was looking the other day in St. Pete, and he ended up signing a lease. But when you buy a property, you're paying down on that mortgage, so you're getting equity in that house.
That's right.
And you can't, when you go to sell it, you're just throwing away rent at something when you can just go ahead and take that equity, pay off debt, which a lot of people do, or go purchase something bigger that you really love.
That's right. Now, I've heard it said between 30 to 40% higher. So, if in essence, if you were to buy a $200,000 home, the mortgage payment would be, about $1,200, somewhere in that range, depending on principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Now, for that same comparable property, you would pay about 30 to 40% higher in rent.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
And that's the numbers. I remember even 5 years ago, Harvard did a study talking about the rents are rising. So that's kind of when it started, about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And the rents started rising because these hedge fund buyers came in and scooped up a lot of the property. Again, these national hedge fund buyers coming in, and so they do that. And yeah, it's great. They beautify the neighborhood. Sometimes they do some quick fix, some light, a lot of times light renovations.
Yeah.
And they make a nice home for someone to live in.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a good opportunity. And I always say for a conventional loan, you can go up to 4 units on a conventional home loan.
Yeah.
So instead of buying just a single family home for you to live in, especially for your first time buyers or those people that have that entrepreneurial mindset, why not buy a triplex or a quad and then you live in one unit and you have the other three units paying your mortgage.
Paying your mortgage and get that cash flow in, yeah. No,
Show me a
it's great.
stock that can do that.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
I have clients right now looking at a duplex that first-time home buyers, they're going to live in one and then rent out the other one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, I'm sure you have some success stories from the past. Do you have anything that comes to mind, any like recent success stories where you converted maybe a renter into a homeowner, or just somebody that maybe did a refinance? Maybe they pulled out some equity, reduced their rate. I know a lot of people are shortening their terms from a 30-year, taking advantage of those the lower 15-year rates and condensing that payment. Maybe the payment goes up a little bit, but now you're knocking thousands of dollars in interest off the payment.
Yeah, so I have one that's actually closing July 1st, and he was told he could not purchase, went conventional. He had the income where he could go 3% down, and he was going to rent somewhere that was twice as expensive. He's going to be in a condo in Hyde Park area, and he was told he couldn't buy, and now he's closing on a house, and it's, little to no money. It's not as expensive as he thought it was going to be to purchase a home.
Yeah.
So we showed him all his options. This is what really goes into purchasing a home. This is the actual cost of it, and it was way less. I mean, if you're paying first month's rent, last month's rent, and deposit, that's as much as a closing cost or a down payment.
A lot of money out of pocket, especially when they start packing those in there. But yeah, that's good stuff. More coming from Lindsey, Vance. We got attorney Frank Miranda in the house as well. And our feel-good story of the day is a good one. A 14-year-old boy fights off leopard, saves his 7-year-old cousin. Find out about that here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back after this short break. Make sure you follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter. Of course, our podcast is awesome. We've got some great content on our iTunes podcast. Download the podcast. And just last week we've had former FBI lead international hostage negotiator Chris Voss on the show. We had Ken Shamrock on the show, UFC Hall of Famer and legend, and my business partner as well. So check out our podcast and our YouTube channel, and we'll be right back after this short break.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, the #1 name in real estate. And we would love to help you buying, selling, or investing. We would love to help you, provide you that Ritz-Carlton style service. I like to talk about that first class. It'll be my, that first class experience. It'll be my pleasure to serve you. One of my first jobs out of school. I learned a lot from that experience of working at the Ritz-Carlton. I kind of carry that into my business. I love that. So we got an all-star lineup here today. We got Lindsey, Vance in the house, Fairway Independent Mortgage, attorney Frank Miranda as well here in studio. And this segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Bilmar Beach Resort on beautiful Treasure Island. Filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special, the Bilmar Beach Resort has been one of the most sought-after destinations in the Treasure Island area for many years. They've got 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Restaurant and Bar, and Clyde Smith, the general manager, is such a cool guy. He says it's a 2-beer beach. It takes you 2 beers to walk from the hotel all the way to the beach. So, and one of the few beaches in the area that you can actually have open container as well. So Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Back here in studio, we got a hot listing here in Tampa Bay, 223 South River Hills Drive. This is on the Hillsborough River, close to USF in Temple Terrace. What a great property. 223 South River Hills Drive. It's that executive style home, 5 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, on a conservation lot on the Hillsborough River, almost a half an acre. Great opportunity. Check out all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, let's jump right into it. We got attorney Frank Miranda in the house. He's a local real estate attorney. He's an actual attorney that goes to court and does litigation, and he owns a title company here in town as well. Frank Charles Miranda Law. Got a great staff over there too. Got to give a shout out to Stephanie. She does such a great job, when we talk to her and we need things done. But yeah, man, what you been up to? You been busy?
Well, I've been very busy, and the phone hasn't been coming, to stop ringing. It's my cell phone, the office phone, and unfortunately it's a lot of litigation going on right now, and some of it has to do with real estate closings. And so, to beat that drum again, if you're going to do a real estate deal, whether on the investment side like we talked about earlier, and you want to rent half of that side of that duplex, you have responsibilities as a landlord. And so some of those responsibilities are, 1, read the statutes. So if you're going to make a claim on the deposit for say, and this issue's come up recently in my office, you got to make certain notifications that you're going to make a claim within, I think, 15 days.
Yep.
And you have to do it the right way. Otherwise, you're going to lose your right to the deposit. So it's small things like that most people don't think about when they do a real estate investment. Unfortunately, what happens is they hear their neighbor, they hear, parts of this show.
Yeah.
Or they hear other, people talking, i.e. national publications that are mailing them information.
Yep.
And they say, well, it's just as easy, just go buy it. Well, we've had several conversations, you and I, about is the zoning correct for what you want to do? Mm-hmm. And we talked about that type of investment with the bed and breakfast concept or the
Airbnb.
That's it, Airbnb. Yeah. Or, just go ahead and rent it, but they don't know what their obligations are. So people are unfortunately so overwhelmed with daily life.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's so much to remember. I got to remember 15 PIN codes in my life to even get in my building.
That's
okay?
right. Yeah.
From my phone to my office to everything else. I have a hard time remembering those things. So when you go to invest, you trust in the market, you trust the common things that you hear out there. But the problem is the finite detail you kind of forget about, or you don't have time to investigate. That's why having someone local you can pick up the phone, talk to, is extremely important.
That's right.
And once you build that trust with somebody, that's priceless, because they can keep you out of litigation. They can make sure that you're doing things correctly. They can, at the end run, save you a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. Thousands of dollars in many cases when you get, if you make the wrong decision or do the wrong thing in the wrong order of time, and I think that was even a listener we got a call in at some point that you were just describing, very similar story, if not that a landlord-tenant situation, comes up a lot. People, there's so many misconceptions, in a lot of different areas, especially landlord-tenant, real estate law, condo associations. The Airbnb is a big one too. People love to buy real estate, turn it into that passive investment investment, somewhat passive, right? You still got to go in and, flip the hotel or the room like a hotel from, cleaning and things. So it's somewhat passive, but people love it. They're making a lot of money with that Airbnb.
Hey, look, I think real estate's the greatest investment ever. You talk to 100 millionaires, and I bet you 99 of them have real estate investments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if it's good for the wealthy, why wouldn't you want to consider it yourself? I mean, Lindsey made a great point. I mean, you're going to go ahead and put down last month security deposit, and you can use that money to go buy something.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so it's just a no-brainer. Now with interest rates today, they're almost giving money away.
Absolutely. It's got to be close to 40, 50-year lows still. I mean, we just had a drop, Lindsey, from when it was, I think your mom had mentioned it, from 2017, September 2017, a low point.
Yeah.
We're back around those lows again, and we love it. That's just a shot in the economy for us, right?
Yep. They just went down again yesterday. So, works out well. I mean, a lot of refinances right now. A lot of people that were first-time home buyers, they're drawing out cash or getting a lower rate than when they first purchased. Yeah. Even from end of last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And Frank, I want to go back and talk about, when we looked at the national trends right now, people, I think these quick fix offer type people, these national hedge funds that come in with that quick offer, and they're trying to revolutionize the industry in certain ways that, you pull out your app, they got cameras all over these houses, you use the app to gain access to the home. They're trying to change things, but in some of these areas, it's not worth what the customer pays. It's not worth losing thousands of dollars, 10 to 15% in some of the cases that we've analyzed, and that's one of the things we do a great job at our office in Clearwater. We have close to 500 agents and a great staff involved, but they pull the stats on these companies that claim the 1% listings and the 1.5% and the 0 closing costs, or we'll pay all your closing costs. We pull the stats and we actually see what the actual closing statements look like, and we accumulate that data. And I've got some interesting charts and graphs. I think we've actually showed them before on the show, Rob, but there's some really interesting graphs where it shows these fees that they claim, they're actually 2.5%, 2.8%, 2.9%, but they're claiming it to be a lot less.
At the end of the day, you do something wrong. I'm talking about you and your group. Do something wrong. You can be held accountable in a court of law right here. Yeah. You can be sued. You have E&O insurance, I'm sure. You have accountability. At the end of the day, when a company from Ohio or Kentucky comes in here, their contracts are all going to say that you can't sue us in the state of Florida. You can't sue us here.
Good point.
Go sue us over there. Now, what incentive does someone have, first of all, to file a lawsuit? That's tough enough, regardless of what you hear out there. That's tough enough.
That's right.
Well, who wants to go hire a lawyer they don't know in another state to go fight on a case that you're going to fight David versus Goliath? It doesn't,
exactly.
You're just putting another barrier between yourself and having accountability.
That's right.
Okay, because now it's a suppressive statement. Okay, it's a chilling effect when they say you have to sue me in this state.
Yep.
No one's going to do that.
Yeah.
And if you file a lawsuit here, it's going to get dismissed because you agreed to the contract. And so this whole accountability concept is a big deal.
It is.
Okay? Because if you don't have the ability to stick up for yourself, well, why do the deal?
Yeah.
It's a bad deal.
Yeah.
And especially when we're showing people, and Keller Williams does a great job with this. They do a phenomenal job, one of the leaders in the industry, in trying to figure out what's going on in the marketplace and what's the truth when it comes to consumers.
Yep.
And if you're telling the people out there that you have the data that backs up the fact that these discount people, whether they're offering mortgages or title services or they're offering to sell your house at 0%, first of all, if it's too good to be true, it isn't true. All right. So some of those things come about because they have some merit behind them.
Yep.
And the merit is what we're telling you is the truth.
That's right.
Okay. So I don't really look at mail, to be honest with you, but at occasions when I see it in my office, I see all the bills. I get that. Yeah. But when I see the mail that comes through and I see all the advertisements and the cards and I look at them, I throw them away. Yeah. Okay, because you got to build this kind of relationship. Now, real estate's hard. Mortgage broker's hard. Being a title company's hard because you have to build relationships and trust. And once you build that, your industry and your business grows accordingly. Yeah. But that's built over time. And with time comes accountability, credibility, honesty. And when you have all those factors in your play, in your favor, as a consumer, you ought to be a lot safer than dealing with someone you've never met over the phone that's going to control your house over the internet. That's right. Who knows, their system doesn't get hacked and all of a sudden anyone can walk up to your house and walk in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, and a lot of times the buyers or the consumers just fall for that easy carrot. They see the national TV commercial of the mortgage lender that claims to have this really fast mortgage. It's so easy to get all these things, and then the challenge is for a real estate agent when I see that pre-approval letter with the offer that comes across. I know that there's a high probability that deal is not going to close. And some of these lenders, online lenders, they have a 55% pull through, a fallout rate. So meaning they only take the 45% cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And then a lot of those deals lost out. We had a couple deals last month that cost me $20,000 by allowing that deal to happen. I said, no more. It's not going to happen. We're going to make sure we have our own lender pre-approve those deals for us. By the way, if you just joined us, we're Brandon Grimes here. We're talking with Lindsey, Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, attorney Frank Miranda here in studio. And Frank, you're right on point, man. We're coming into the next break, but parting
a real parting shot is if they're promising 0 fees, there's a lot of fees.
Yeah.
No one's working for free.
That's right.
True.
And to run that commercial isn't cheap, so they're making money.
They're making money, and they're taking the cream of the crop on some of these deals. Yeah, so we want you to shop local here, work with your local economy. Let's stimulate the local economy. We're supporting local charities right here in Tampa Bay. Everybody associated with the Consumer Quarterback Show. All of our expert contributors can be found on our website, consumerqb.com. And when we come back, more from our expert contributors here in studio. And our feel-good story of the day is a good one. A 14-year-old boy fights off leopard, saves his 7-year-old cousin. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Grimes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Grimes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace. And we want to invite you to Tampa Bay's largest speed networking event coming up on Thursday, the 27th at East Bay Drive in Largo, the Verizon Event Center. It's the 2.0 version. We had such a great time at the first event. We decided to do this a couple times a year. Now, it's going to be on Thursday, the 27th, 6 o'clock. Great opportunity for business owners, account executives, salesmen and women, everybody, come on out, come and join us. It's a free event. We got catered food from Amici's Catered Cuisine. Spunky Spirits is going to be bartending. DJ Yahoo's going to be there spinning. It's going to be a great time, a lot of fun. We're raising money, so party with a purpose, and we're going to raise money for Children's Cancer Center. We got raffle items. We're going to have tables available for business owners out there. So networking, catered food, DJ, bartenders, so much more. Tampa Bay's largest speed networking event, 2.0, at the Verizon Center on the 27th, presented by the Consumer Quarterback Show. And I got a couple of hot listings here. I want to let you know about this one. Here we've got a property on 11540 Shipwatch Drive. Now, this one is in Largo, just a couple of minutes from the beach. Now, this community has everything. It's got restaurants, tennis courts, basketball, all types of outdoor activities and indoor. 11540 Shipwatch Drive. This one is right on the pond as well. Great, great property. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com. And this segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving. They do a great job whether you're planning a local or long-distance move. And I can tell you from first-hand experience that they're a first-class organization. They do a great job. And they've been highly reviewed online, a 4.6 on Google, 4.5 on Yelp, A Better Business Bureau, A rating from the Better Business Bureau, A rating on Angie's List, and they've also won the Super Service Award multiple times. Reach out to Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And we are back here in studio. We got Lindsey Vance in the house, Fairway Independent Mortgage. She's a local mortgage lender, loan officer. We also have attorney Frank Miranda in studio as well. So a lot about real estate, mortgage, finance on the show today, Lindsey. And, it's one of those things where we talked about renters. What's one of the biggest questions? Let's start there. What's one of the biggest misnomers in the industry that you get on a daily basis?
Most of the time when people call in, they, one, don't know if they can afford anything. And then two, a lot of people are told student loans, debt, that they will not be able to, afford with what they have. And they think that when we're talking about debt, that what your balance is on your debt matters. It's what your payments are. So that's a lot of, and then also no-cost loans. That 0% down.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's not much of that. Now,
No.
there are some funds that you can access from municipalities. But I think, summarizing what you said, I think it's down payment.
Yeah.
People just don't know. They think, I got to put 20% down. It's not the truth.
Correct. Yeah, it's all about educating yourself and really finding out what options are best for you, because every person you're going to talk to or, is always going to have a different scenario.
Yeah.
That's why I love this business. Everyone's different. It's putting the puzzles together.
Yeah, it comes down to credit, income, and assets, right?
Yeah.
The CIA, right?
Yep,
So
exactly.
credit, income, assets, and then the collateral, when it comes down to the actual piece of property that you're lending on. So when it comes to that, you look at the ability today to get a interest rate, and we're not going to quote certain rates here. We don't want the mortgage police coming after us.
Definitely not.
But, you look at...
Why is that a big deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Because you don't want to offer someone a rate that really isn't available when you pull their credit, income, assets. That's income ratio, how much you're putting down.
Well, obviously, you would quote the rate for the highest, best credit, right? And then if obviously you would think that common sense wise, if your credit's not so good, you get a little higher interest rate because you're a greater risk.
Yeah.
That's how the bank looks at it, or the underwriters look at it. So.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we got a world full of attorneys, Frank,
Yeah.
and they're looking for reasons to, But anyways, as long as I think if you do that, you have to quote an APR, because the APR
Correct.
takes into account the closing costs, the prepaids, etc.
Loan origination fees, that appraisal fees, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Hypothetically, if you have great credit.
So hypothetically,
I'll give you a range: high 3s, low 4s.
there you go.
For a 30-year mortgage?
Yeah.
So now you're not in trouble.
Yeah.
And you quoted a good range there. Now that's where the fast talk comes in. That's 78% LTV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's where that comes in. But so we are. We're spoiled, right? We live in the best time to be alive as a human being, and we live in Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Palm Harbor, Bradenton, Sarasota, the best Tri-City, whatever you want to call it, region in the United States.
Yeah.
And we have the ability to buy a home in the best country, in the best area on planet Earth at a 3.8 to 4.2%.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable, right? Yeah. So we're not quoting APRs there, guys. We're joking with you there.
You make it sound really good.
Right? I mean, hey, you think I sell real estate or something.
You did a good job with that.
I mean, it really is. And you look at the affordability when you look at the absence of a state income tax, the affordability, and you compare the west coast of Florida versus the east coast of Florida. Big difference there.
Yeah. Yeah, big purchase price difference, definitely.
But so Tampa Bay in general, I'm a big proponent of that, of course. But just in general, we want people to kind of take action. So let's do a rent versus own analysis. Let's do that for the first 3 listeners. All you have to do is text the word rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to our consumer advocate hotline, 813-670-7372. Text the word rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to our consumer advocate hotline. Again, it's 813-670-7372. Now, you can call or text that line anytime, and we're going to put you in touch. Now, Lindsey, walk them through what that's going to look like. They're going to text the rent. They're paying $1,200 in rent. And I'm going to reply back, okay, what's your name and email? We're going to send that to you. What does that process look and feel like for the consumer?
Okay, well, first of all, you always want to find out what they're looking for, first of all, and then what area they're in, that kind of things. And then I kind of go into educating them before I obviously get their information to pull credit and everything like that.
Right.
So I kind of go over the options, what the least amount minimum down payment is, because like you said, most people think you have to put 20% down. Nope, false. 3% down, 5% down, 3.5% down, 0% USDA, which we still have in this area. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of new construction, stuff like that. That's 0% down.
Where do you find that? That's up in Pasco, Hernando, where,
So Waimama.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a little area in Wesley Chapel, and then south of Apollo Beach.
Okay.
And so North Pasco County too.
Yeah. So more rural areas, obviously.
Yeah, obviously that's what it's used for.
So they're promoting growth in the rural areas.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and as Tampa Bay's been growing, there's a lot more new construction. There's a lot more people that are moving out to those rural areas that still qualify for 0% down.
That's right. Yeah, urban sprawl, I believe, is one of the terms they use. Yeah. So Lindsey Vance here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Fairway Independence Mortgage, right here in studio. Now, tell us a little bit about how these down payment assistance programs work.
So they have a minimum credit score, which most of them are 640. That's for the state. Then you have the counties also. Pinellas County 660. Then we have an in-house one also. The minimum credit score they say is 660, but to get a good rate it's 720. And then they also are income based. So that's also depending on the program. Some are based on your household size. So even if one person is on the loan, you're going to have, if you are married, your husband's income is going to count. And then there's other ones that it's just the income that you put on the application. So if it could be your salary, but you get bonus and your bonus knocks you out, we could just use your salary to qualify.
Interesting.
So like I said, every scenario is different.
So yeah, they should reach out and just explore those. I actually did a loan back when my mortgage loan officer days. A lot of times in the real estate, you start off as a mortgage broker, you become a realtor. There's different paths for everyone, right?
Yeah.
But I did a deal for my cousin actually down in Hendry County. I did a SHIP fund combined with another fund. And it was like $45,000 of down payment assistance, free money.
Yeah.
Free money that he did not have to pay back. I mean, that's life-changing for people.
Yeah, they still have those. I don't think as much as it was back then, but they still have 4% of purchase price, 3% of purchase price, and some of them have no mortgage insurance, which that's what people get killed by sometimes.
Yeah. The mortgage insurance just simply protects the lender, does nothing for the consumer, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Wonder who wrote that.
Yeah.
I wonder who wrote that into the mortgage documents.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of the lenders, national lenders, they own those companies.
Right.
So they're double dipping.
Yeah. They're double dipping, and then it also plays on the side of a foreclosure. If you got a short sale offer, and we've seen this happen on the real estate side a lot, you have a fair offer into the bank, the comparables are lining up. The bank might say, we don't want to take that at short sale deal. What we'd rather do is foreclose on the home, get paid by the MI company, take the asset back as an REO, resell the asset, because a lot of times what happens with investors, it's a feeding frenzy. They're going to multiple offer highest and bid that thing up. So to your point, Frank.
Well, I'll be honest, and that doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't?
Okay? That doesn't make any sense. But when I explain this, it might. Because the banks hire third-party administrators to do that work for them, and they pay them as long as the file's open.
Okay.
So they have no incentive to take any deal because they're making less money.
Right. I've heard that before. So that scenario I laid out, you're saying it's not necessarily true, because why?
Because the banks aren't doing those deals necessarily themselves. They have hired third parties to negotiate those foreclosures for them, and they pay them every month per file.
I've heard that, yeah.
Okay, so if you're the person doing the work, you have no incentive to close files quickly because you lose less money.
Yeah. But if it's coming up on a
deadline, that's the flaw in the system.
If the list pendants was filed and you're coming up on a deadline, why would they not take the money instead of spending more money to follow through with the foreclosure and then pay a property preservation company to come in and clean it up and all that?
I think the bank would.
The bank would.
But the bank has signed a contract with a third party that they get to call the shots.
Ah, okay. So it's kind of back.
It's kind of really backwards.
One of those things, right? All right, so stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Intelligent Talk Radio, right here. We'll be right back with our expert contributors in studio, Lindsey, Vance, Fairway, Independent Mortgage, Frank, Miranda, FCM Law, and our feel-good story of the day coming right up after this break. 14-year-old boy fights off leopard, saves his 7-year-old cousin, right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
When you say independent,
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, we're back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Lindsey, Vance in the house. Fairway Independent Mortgage attorney Frank Miranda as well, coming up right after this feel-good story of the day. Every day we're going to tell you something positive, kind of combat that negativity that you always find in the mainstream media. And here we go with today's feel-good story.
Tell me something good.
All right, we got a 14-year-old boy fights off leopard, saves his 7-year-old cousin. So he saved his cousin from the jaws of a leopard in a village near Thane, India. So Naresh Kumar Balar and Harash Vital Bala were playing outside and searching for berries when the leopard attacked Hashard. Naresh used a stick to beat the leopard off his cousin. The boy's grandmother came rushing to their aids as the leopard fled. The local police station congratulated the boys for their bravery and, quote, Naresh showed unusual courage for such a young lad to save his cousin, the policeman said. So you talk about problems.
No question.
That's in India. In India, and that's the Americans' problem is their Game Boy stopped working, or their not Game Boy. That's dating me right there. Game Boy. What's it called, Rob?
The Pong game.
Nintendo DS or something.
Yeah, all their Nintendos and their that's it. Hey, the remote stopped working, man. These guys are getting attacked by leopards and stuff over there. But feel good story. Hey, feel good after that, right? All right, here we go. Back in studio. So we got Lindsey, Vance in the house, Frank Miranda here, and we'll continue our conversation around real estate and finance and some of the different things. I want to ask Frank, when you go into the courtroom, sometimes it's one of those things where. And I've been near court many times and here and there, I've gone through my own rounds of problems and things in the past. But when you look at that, it's like, hey, settling out of court is much better for both parties, all parties, than going into the courtroom. In most cases, that's what you hear, because when you go in front of a judge, they say you never know what's going to happen. Even if you've got, the attorney says, well, you're 70% going to win, but there's still that 30% chance. Why is that, man? Why do you see that? Or is that true?
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And there's some times where you go into court and you're supposed to argue a certain motion, and that motion's noticed. And somehow the hearing goes a different way. You start talking about things that you really shouldn't be talking about at the hearing. They weren't really noticed for the hearing. And some of that depends. The court's got to take some responsibility for that. I think some of that is, in a way, a reflection on some of these judges that are just being appointed by governors to perhaps repay some governmental favors or some political favors.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think they try and do a good job and get qualified people as judges. But I'll tell you this: it's different than medicine. So medicine, the anatomy.
Yes.
In the law, there's always the rule of law, but the great thing about the law is always an exception. So the exception comes up. A judge can say that this exception applies in this particular fact pattern, therefore you lose. So that's why we say that. Now, when it comes to settlement, the question is this, and what I tell my clients is always this: if it's reasonable, the great thing about a settlement is the result.
Yes.
It ends today.
Yes.
What people don't understand is not only is there a financial aspect to it when you're talking about going to court.
That's right.
There's also an emotional aspect to it. There's a time commitment to it.
Right.
You can't just say, I'm not involved in my case, go ahead and handle it.
Yes.
There's going to be some interaction that I'm going to have with my client. There's going to be some documents I'm going to have to obtain from my client. I don't get those things. Bad things start happening to the case.
Yep.
So you have to be committed to your case. There's a lot of people come to my office and they think they've been wronged, and they probably have been wronged. And I tell them, for the amount of the controversy, they want to talk about principle. That's fine. Principle costs money. And what happens is they get tired of that, and it's not a frivolous lawsuit by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
But I always tell people, I'm not taking this case at this point in time. Go home and think about it and come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good for you to do that.
Yeah. I'm fortunate enough to tell people that. I've been around long enough and enjoyed a decent enough reputation where I'm okay if I turn down a case.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe some of the lawyers aren't, and they jump on a case and they jump on someone's emotion and they file a lawsuit, and the case kind of really goes nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the case is meritless, but I'm just saying there's an opportunity where you might be able to avoid litigation if you just sit down with your client and talk to them and figure out what really are their goals.
Yeah. Or even,
kind of what Lindsey does. You got to figure out what your goals are and what best suits your needs. I mean, I tell
That's
everyone,
right.
they hear stories about cases all the time.
Yep.
And they're like, my case is just like this case. I'm like, no, it's not. Okay, because every river charts its own course. It's not like that.
Yep.
And so they hear these stories, and I tell them right away, one, you can't believe everything you hear.
Yep.
And two, this is not that case.
Yeah, because a lot of times, especially if it's collecting money or going after bad debt, you're throwing good money after bad money.
You can
in
be.
many cases.
And I've told people that a number of times, so that I can go get a judgment against somebody. They owe you the money. Whether you collect it or not, it's up to you. Do you want to proceed?
Right. Yep, big challenge for that. And back to Lindsey. So Lindsey Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. We're talking about the local lender supporting the local economy here in Tampa Bay. But Frank also brought up a great point. You are able to shop many different loan programs because you are independent from that standpoint.
Correct, yeah. So we have a lot more flexibility in what we can do in terms of the programs and then also down payment. And a lot of people, debt to income ratio, we can go a lot higher. We can go up to 50% on conventional, which most people hard stop at 43, 45.
That's a great advantage.
Yeah.
Huge advantage.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's when it comes into the self-employed borrower.
Yep.
Talk to us about
those
that.
are the fun ones.
Yeah.
Actually, I enjoy those because I'm taxes on the backside. So, in all reality, if you're self-employed, they want at least 12 months.
Okay.
That's all they ask. They would like 2 years, and you can get exceptions if they have at least 12 months.
Bank statements?
You can do bank statements, yeah. It's just they have to be consistent deposits. It can't be, just they're getting this much this month and another random deposit just coming in. So they're possible.
All right, good stuff. Let's jump into our lightning round.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds!
I majored in lightning rounds.
All right, here we go. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Ladies first.
I would just like to say, before you purchase home, just get educated. Learn your options. Learn all of your options. You want to do what's best for you. Like Brandon's saying, it's what's best for the consumer.
Yeah, get that pre-approval before you start shopping.
Yeah, you want to know how much you can afford before you go out, and you don't want to fall in love with something that really you can't purchase at this time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because then you're always going to look at other homes, and it's got to live up to that one.
That hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt, yeah.
Attorney Frank Miranda.
Hang on with that thought because, my theory is at this point in time, you can buy more house.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you bought a house for $200,000 today, you qualify for $400,000. Your payment's not going to go up very much.
Yes.
Correct.
So think about the value then when you sell it down the road. So, not only does this show have to go to first-time home buyers, I think it's the person that has had one child, two children, and now they need a bigger place.
Yeah.
And so, what a great opportunity to get something bigger that you can have more value down the road at, and your payment's pretty much the same, just because you're giving money away with the low interest rates.
Absolutely.
And so that's my message I'm telling on what Lindsey's saying. That's the time to do it is now, because you're never going to see interest rates any lower.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. For the lightning round, I like to talk about one of my favorite stories or lessons learned is Dr. Edward Banfield from Harvard. He conducted a 50-year study into the upward socioeconomic mobility of Americans and other countries as well, people across the world. What makes some more successful than others? What makes some come to a country as immigrants with nothing and then end up being millionaires? So he conducted a 50-year study into that upward socioeconomic mobility, and he found out at the end of that study that the situation that makes some more money and some more successful is long time perspective, developing long time perspective. So when you think about planning your business or your career, you really got to map it out, not only years ahead but decades ahead, and see how this is going to play out. And you see that happen with a lot of corporations and companies that are not only considering the now but also the future of that. So we got a couple minutes left. Let's do another round here. Lindsey Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Give us some nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom.
All right. Can we actually go with Frank first? I can't think of anything right
Parting
now.
words. Give us some parting words of wisdom.
You have plenty of words of wisdom. The parting words of wisdom I have are if you're going, there's people that will spend more time trying to find a good hairdresser.
Yeah.
And ask everyone they know to try and find their new hairdresser because the old one moved away than they will to try and find a local professional when it comes to investing the most money they ever have.
That's right. That's a good point.
Okay, and so spinning full circle here, go do something and deal with somebody locally.
Yeah.
Because there's no company that can present to me any fact, any evidence that says they can represent you better than someone locally here.
Yeah.
and the cost is, I would say, questionable when it comes to their claims that they can do it for less money.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
and on that same note, Frank, that a lot of times we got football season coming up around the corner. You pick it, but people they'll invest a lot of time in picking their fantasy football picks, right? Or all these things that really do nothing to move them forward or to live a better life or leave a better legacy for their family. And that's one of my things. It's like, man, how much time do you have in a day to do all that stuff? And but hey, another great show. We're running out of time here. We got Lindsey, Vance. Thank you very much for coming in. Fairway Independent Mortgage.
Thank you.
Attorney Frank Miranda, as always, a pleasure, sir. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing, carry it with you to and from your commute, hand it to that person that you see in need, and be a force for good in the community. Donate some blood. Lots of ways you can get involved. And make sure you follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, we have our podcast out there, our YouTube channel, lots of great content there. And of course, consumerqb.com. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.